show aggression or resistance or determination. So for me, when I say fear, I get fearful, so I take action. But I guess that really isn't fear. That's resistance. And so so they want us to be in fear. Why then would they come out with vaccines that just completely block it where you're an emotionless jellyfish? I guess that's the next stage.
Well, that's the next stage, exactly, because, once you've got a drug control of the body, then suddenly you're doing it in a different way. You're fundamentally destabilizing the body in another way, as opposed to the fear itself. See, what the body is, it's an information blueprint. Think the green codes in the Matrix movie. It's an information blueprint. Now, when that blueprint is in its prime state, we are healthy, we think sharply, we are functioning perfectly.
We're creative, we're decisive, we're beautiful, we're in tune with the universe.
And we can see through what we can't see when we're in a closed state. Now, what we need to do, I would suggest, is see everything as information if we're going to understand what's going on here, because this is how deeper in the rabbit hole. So when someone puts a virus or whatever into a body, it's information. The virus is information. It's introducing rogue, distorting information that distorts the blueprint, the basic blueprint of the body. And that means that the blueprint is distorted, so in some way we're going to be distorted through physical health, through emotional health, or through mental health. This is what's going on. It's all about information. And just going back to what I said a few minutes ago, the power of our consciousness to balance back and hold that blueprint is immense. That wonderful story of the American professor who was doing research on LSD, went out to the East and talked to some mystic guy who'd spent his life focusing on the power of the mind and everything. And he gave him LSD, nothing happened. He gave him more LSD, nothing happened. He gave him an heroic dose of LSD, and the guy just sat there and smiled at him. It didn't have any effect because he was using his mind to overpower the effect of the drug. Now, we can do this. This is where this new epoch is going, where we understand the true power of consciousness and the mind. What the control system has spent so much time doing, and is doing today more than anything, is to try to hold us in a low, closed mind, closed vibrational state, so we cannot access that natural power we have, the true self, to resist all this multi-level stuff that's being thrown at us.
Well, that was my other issue. That was my other issue, is that we see in the natural world with bugs, with insects, with microorganisms, and with animals, that over time, a lot of times under poison or drugs or antibiotics, things just get stronger over time. And clearly the globalists know this. They know that all their poisoning, and I've seen this in their literature, they've said that with a certain minority, it's actually accelerating awakening and having the opposite effect.
Yeah, we're because of this epoch change that's going on, we're now seeing a very clear forking in the road, where on one kind of track, if you like, there are people that are staying closed-minded. They're following the system. They're doing and perceiving as they're told to do and perceive. And now this is ever-gathering other section of society, which is getting bigger all the time, which is expanding its consciousness, it's opening its mind, it's saying, look, I'm going to put a blank sheet of paper here, and I'm not going to let preconceived belief, preconceived idea to edit my perception. I'm going to let information and my experience lead me to what I think is reality, what I think is happening in the world, and not what I've been programmed to believe is me and reality and what is going on in the world before. And that is, I'm sure you've seen this, Alex. It's so obvious now. There is this clear parting of the ways between those two groups of people in the world, that which is staying closed and that which is demonstrably opening its mind, and it's becoming more and more blatant all the time.
I totally agree with you, and that now leads us to financial collapse as a way to control us, as their own documents state, but also the Iran situation. Break that down for us, David Icke.
Well, for Iran, I mean, to understand a massive part of that, all you've got to do is read Zbigniew Brzezinski's book, The Grand Chessboard, in which he said about an area of the world called Eurasia, which is basically, for people who haven't come across this, from Europe and the Middle East across through to China and across China. And this is what he said in the book in 1997. How America manages Eurasia is critical. A power that dominates Eurasia would control two of the world's three most advanced economically productive regions. A mere glance at the map also suggests that control over Eurasia would almost automatically entail Africa's subordination, rendering the Western Hemisphere and Oceania geopolitically peripheral to the world's central continent. About 75% of the world's people live in Eurasia, and most of the world's physical wealth is there as well, both in its enterprises and underneath its soil. Eurasia accounts for about 3/4 of the world's known energy resources. And then you look at a map of Eurasia, particularly one part of it, and that is a line of countries from Israel across through to China. And it's like a wanted list of the control system. You have in that line of countries Iraq. They're in there. They've got control of Iraq as a result of that spurious invasion. In that line of countries is Afghanistan. They've got that. At least they're in there and have a massive foothold in there. Next to Afghanistan, between that and China, is Pakistan, which, as we know, they're systematically undermining with false flag terrorist events and massive weather situations which may well not be natural. And then you look at a big elephant in the living room that would connect Iraq to Afghanistan and basically, apart from Syria, which they're also targeting more and more, of course, with propaganda, they would complete that line of countries from Israel right across to China, which is what they want. And that elephant in the living room connecting Iraq to Afghanistan is Iran. And that's why they want that. And if they can't find a reason that people will accept, and they've not yet, what they'll do in the end, because their time scale is not infinite and quite the opposite, is they'll try to go in there, or they will go in there just without asking anybody. Well, we got to go, guys. We can't wait any longer.
And that's their geopolitical aim. But at the same time, there's the trillions in weapon sales. There's the domestic excuse to clamp down on the West, to stage terror attacks and say that Iran has done it. And we know that's the real target.
Exactly. And then you look up north from that line of countries, and you're into Georgia, and you're into Kazakhstan, and you're going up to the Russian border then. And this is all Eurasia, all this area that Brzezinski was talking about in 1997. And what is also very important, Alex, in this whole area is that people are given the perception that there's this great land of Arabic rule, when it's not at all. I wrote an article a few weeks ago which was basically headed, "If Iran goes, Arabia goes." Because if you look at a map of Arabia, and then you look at the controlling forces behind these countries, look at it. It's supposed to be the land of Arabia, the land of Islam. Well, Egypt, that's controlled from Tel Aviv and Washington. And then you've got Saudi Arabia, Tel Aviv and Washington. Then you've got Kuwait, Tel Aviv and Washington. Iraq, taken over already, as we can see. The United Arab Emirates and all the rest of it. I've got no chance of standing up to this Washington-Tel Aviv axis. And so Iran is right in the middle there, this massive, massive country. And if that goes, then there's only remnants left. And Arabia's basically gone.